Hey guys, Funk2 here of course, and today we're covering the Parseval. So, let's get right into mods here. First mod, flight control mod, you don't want to build for secondaries. Carriers are really, you don't really use your plane, your actual ship itself is more the planes you use. So, air groups mod 2 again, built into your planes. Concealment, you don't want to get spotted if possible. You really don't need flight control mod because they already go 189 knots. Air grips is definitely what you want. Better repair time, better HP. Something to note, this basically is a tier 5 Whizzer or Whiz. If you don't have the upgraded aircraft, you see these are biplanes when you do upgrade them. So if you have any global XP, I highly recommend you boost to get one of the two plane upgrades. If two of them you can get, go for it, but grinding these lines without the upgrades is pretty rough, so really recommended to boost those planes. AP bombs 9785 alpha upgraded, very hard hitting. Torpedoes also 6.3 k. Torpedo speed 55 knots, which is faster than airdrop. These are airdrop torpedoes, by the way. You could drop them very close. These are faster than the Italian torps. Terms of armor, this thing is over Penn City. The citadel is actually really tiny. It's also protected by a turtleback. The armor of this carrier is exceptionally good. Period. You'll actually either bounce or overpen. It's not really many penetrating shots here. Basically, you're into 6 HE. That's the citadel. Absolutely tiny compared to any other ship in the game, really, considering the size of the ship, and 40mm deck as well, which is quite tanky. So you're actually not going to citadel this thing reliably in another Parseval way, basically. So commander option, hands good if you can. Non-fly zone is my preferred option. More range, you hit for more often. You definitely want dark silhouette. The torpedo damage is not worth it. Heavily advised you above the bombers with both headed out of sight and then heavy consequences. You could go again for additional stealth, and that is definitely an option, but I do like the additional penetration and additional damage. Now, for tier 7, probably recommend fully packed. If you're feeling ballsy though, corkscrew does give you additional penetration, but fully packed is probably the better skill. I prefer corkscrew because I really don't use consumables too much. I find this is already plenty for me. You can get the additional evasive maneuvers, which are basically magic shields, and you get additional fighters and additional killing. So if we put fully packed off, you get rid of this. You only get 2 evasive maneuvers per fight, which if you're really trying to min-max, this is fully packed is a better option. But I do like corkscrew because it does give me more reliable citadels, I believe. Inspirations, Ransel Tanaka and Swersky if you have them. If you don't have Swersky, you could go with plenty of other options. You can boost the carrier's speed, or you could boost his health. Really, that's about it. I think you can boost his health, speed, or maybe for Vian for better dispersion. Really, in terms of all inspirations, there's not much. Reload times consumables as well, if you're going for fully packed, is also a good shout. The really buffs or AP bombs is really what you want. So yeah, that's pretty much the build. And if you take a look real quick at the concealment, 8.1. If you put on a full concealment build, you can take a look. This is with a fully camo, 7.7. Take this off real quick. 7.7 is not high for a carrier. If you go for a Lexington without a camo and you have no concealment on it at all, it's already better by a large margin, 7.2. It's just the concealment of the Germans are not very good compared to other carriers. It's still very good, but it's not comparison to any other carriers. Anyway, without much further ado, let's hop into the game. So, Parseval performs very well, similar to the other tier carriers. I did want to feature this one first because it was a very fun game for me. 2 DDs per side, so I tend to take off the original planes first. Tends to be the torpedo bombers if there's a lot of destroyers, but this time I'm feeling competent with the bombers, so I do take out the bombers first. And as you can see, the plane speed of these things mounts up. In terms of how close you want to be to the action, I tend to be pretty close if I play the Chicago or Lexington, but because I don't have a stealth, of those boats, I tend to play a little bit further back. So if you have an island like that, ideal situation. You see, it sounds like I've got hits, but I'm actually just spotting things. They really need to change that, give it a different sound, or not even a sound at all, because it does offer a little bit mislead. If you've got a lone ship like this, you probably don't need to pre-drop. It does depend on what the ship is. In terms of citadels, you're very likely to get citadels on the German battleships and the Russian battleships. You're going to struggle a little bit with the Americans, but you'll still get them. So what are we dropping right now? We'll find out very shortly. Good eyes on it. Oh yeah, easy citadels. You want to be as straight as possible, by the way, but you can still get some reliable results with just a well-aimed drop, even if it's angled. There's no real defense or counter to this besides AA, I guess. We did use our mercenaries there just to guarantee that we had full plane drops there. This is the more accurate salvo. We do lose a plane here, but oh well. 2 pens and 1 citadel, that's not bad. So we have got a bit of spot here where we can basically fly straight up. Realism right there. But yeah, we're just going to finish off this guys now. For these carriers, it's actually perfectly fine to call for the same type of planes at the same. See, I called for bombers last time, and I'm calling for bombers again. That is nothing wrong with that in this thing. In this particular carrier, you definitely want to use whatever you need at the time. So it's definitely worth not swapping all the time. You only swap when you need to swap. So yeah, we're going to finish off the guys now. Again, he's on his own sim, so he's not really got much AA. He's a tier 6 battleship and he's German. He's literally the ideal target for Parseval, just absolutely desperate. So we get a good drop in here. Yep, he's out. Yeah. 3 minutes in, he's done. He's done nothing wrong, but that's just what the German carriers do. Now we've already essentially pre-dropped on the Goliath now, so we can go after a tougher target like the Massachusetts, which does have sizable weight. We're going to lose that plane, 100%, but as long as we're flying relatively safe, we can get... Well, we did lose a little bit to that too much flak there, but we're going to get 1 drop off, and... Oof, alright. So, when under heavy AA, I tend to switch to torpedoes, because you can actually... Because of the speed of these things, you can probably drop outside of AA, and as soon as you do the drop, your planes kind of dart out of the AA because they're just simply so quick. The speed of these planes is unrivaled, and yeah, it's insane. It really is. So we're already starting a drop here, mitigating a lot of AA from the island. We drop off here, and we zoom, zoom, zoom. As you can see, AA is already stopped firing. We did lose a lot of our planes there. There's a little bit too much there. Retrospect, probably should have pre-dropped that. A lot of planes there. We gotta be careful. Mass is pretty low. We're gonna switch to our bombers again. Bombers are really the bread and butter. Torpedoes are great for dealing with destroyers because AP bombs can't deal with them very at all, really. And yeah, definitely want to use bombers. Now, you may have noticed something here. We actually do get spotted. So we're actually spotted by a destroyer who's snuck up on us this game. He's completely avoided the ACAP and has tried to go after the carrier. Now, we are, fortunately, because of our position, we are very well situated to avoid shots from any battleships. But we are spotted by this destroyer. So we're going to try our best to fight him. I'm thinking he's being smart and he's actually tried to use this and capture this area. But no, he's actually... looking about here, he's actually gone around the back side of the map. He's hugged the map to try and snipe the CV. This is a really bad idea. You should never go after these CVs. You should just try and win the game on your own, because you doing this is taking you out the game here. We haven't captured any objectives, that's true, but they've only managed to capture 1. So realistically, it's not doing great. I decide to ignore him at the minute. At this point, and go after these battleships, go after the Massa. But I'm thinking, no, I'm gonna go kill him, because yeah, he's becoming a bother. He's probably round about that area. He's still got me spotted, so yeah, I'm gonna keep moving, reposition, I'm going to go back and find him, because again, these planes are very quick. It's not much of a problem. As long as I keep maneuvering, I've got infinite sonar, because these planes still have torpedoes. You really don't want to chase a carrier. There's the torpedoes. We mitigate most of them because we do change our direction. It's a Jervis. Okay. So Jervis does do some harassment, but overall we're going to see what we can do to mess him up. So get 55 knot torpedoes from the airdrop. They are very hard to dodge. I can tell you off the bat, it's just not easy to dodge whatsoever. So do what we can. Alright, gonna get what we can here. Another one. That's two drops, 2 hits so far, and he's flooding. So far, not so good for this Jervis, who's decided to go avoid the cap and try to hunt down the CV. I tend to get sniped a lot, which is weird. I mean, maybe it's a good thing because they're very powerful, but I still think it's a dumb idea. Kind of butcher this one, but it's more to intimidate a little bit of fear into the guy, because they looked like they were going to hit. I knew they were going to arm, but that's fine. It's more I can get a more clean drop next run. And it's all about getting the clean drop. So one necessarily wasted, you say, but it's more of a situation that it's got him turning this way. And because he's turned this way, he hasn't seen those. And they're out. Now, I'm just going to go straight cap 8 at this point. And we're going to move in again with AP bombers. Fortunately, our team was doing relatively well in holding back the oncoming storm that was the Battleship Rush. But, yeah, we're not doing amazingly well. We are up 1 DD, but yeah, we're up on points, but we've got no cap control here, and yeah, the Massa just took out a Gneisenau. We've got a full health Scharnhorst, and we've got a low health Massa to deal with. Now, Massa's been harassed this whole game with HE, so in terms of AA, he's not going to have too much. Yeah, you can see the AA is not too threatening, so I'm not actually worried about pre-dropping here. Doesn't look like he's got much health left. I'm just going to guarantee he's dead, or he's already dead. Alright, it's fine. Pre-drop, and it's a Scharnhorst, a German battleship. Really easy to citadel. Their turtleback is completely negated when you go through the deck. So, these things are very hard to citadel if you angle correctly, and if you are close range, is basically null and void to these Germans because you're going through the deck. So yeah, these German carriers do well at killing German ships and Russian ships because their citadel is more or less exposed. The Americans will have a harder time. You'll have a harder time citadeling Americans, and the French you can citadel pretty good, and so you can do it with the Japanese. But the juiciest targets to citadel is the Germans and the Russians. Kind of funny. You really, like, in this, with the advent of these German carriers, German battleships have become really hard because you can't really do much about it and you're just going to get citadel. The best thing you could do is turn, constantly turn, but even then, it's actually pretty good AA from that Scharnhorst. Very surprising. The best thing you can do is turn all the time, but if you're decent enough in these carriers, you can mitigate that as well. Not only do these carrier planes turn very quickly, as soon as you press the R2 button to aim, or wherever the action button is, the right bumper is it for the Xbox, you can adjust the direction of your bombs. So the white indicator here, as soon as you press R2, you can turn. See that? You can turn and adjust. And then you press R2 again to let loose the bombers, and there they go. You can also get triple citadels in this. Each bomb drops 1. Each bomber drops 1, so you can do a maximum of like 29,000 damage, basically 30k. So, fortunately, we've been getting citadels nearly every drop, so pretty good. But we'll be getting those 30k salvos just yet, which is a little bit upsetting for us. But really, that's all you need. when just the double citadel was fine. So we're just going to push forward here. At this point here, with the Leon here supporting us, and the combined AA from both the Leon and I, it's going to be quite difficult for the Shikaku to get much done. I've still got some fighters left. Again, I could have an additional magical shield or emergency reserve if I stopped to really pack this game, but I really didn't think I needed it, and I just don't really think I needed it, you know. So I'm gonna make, for my opportune moment, he's trying to drop me here, but these are Shikaku bombs. They're not Lexington bombs, nor are the Parseval bombs, so they're not gonna do too much damage. Again, it's just, you'll see, it's not much. So we're gonna go have a full squadron here for a little bit of buffer, so we can get the full drop off on the Lexington. Shikaku, sorry. Keep picking Lexington for no reason. We have plenty lead. These things are very quick. And we do a drop. And there we go. That's the triple citadel that we need. And yeah, poor Lexington, poor Shikaku, sorry. Pretty darn brutal. This thing is emergency really good at killing carriers. If you have the emergency reserve icon there. If we had that, probably would have had time to get another drop off, to be fair. We're gonna give our Lexington some fighter support here, and just make sure everything doesn't turn our way as well. And we're just gonna keep brutalizing this carrier with the AP bombs. Incredibly effective, these AP bombs, and really is your bread and butter. You want to use them as much as possible. Torpedoes are for cruisers and DDs, really, because the cruisers are kind of hard to hit with the AP bombs because they're so maneuverable. Carriers, of course, do eat these. Ooh, getting a lot of AA there. That was pretty rough. We sailed into a little bit of an AA bubble there, but amazingly enough, no, we're not going to get that bomb. That's not going to work. We're going to try though, but no, the Shikaku is too fast. All right, send one more squadron out. Again, I don't mind depleting one squadron or another. It's only 2 minutes left of the game, and it's only got the carrier left. But yeah. You can see the damage we've done already. 13 citadels, 150k. The dev structure destroyer trying to chase us down. 13 citadels. We had a lot of Germans to deal with, and that was a lot of free citadels basically. These things are horrifically strong. Even in terms of carriers, they're very strong. This would say is definitely on par with Lexington with the buff, and in terms of dealing with certain ships, just straight out better anything we have. Yeah, there's nothing in this game that can citadel anything regardless of angle. Citadels are hard things to get. They've always been hard things to get, but with these new planes, they're just not. As you can see, we can just brutalize this pure Shikaku. Yeah. And he's out. So yeah, German carriers incredibly strong. This is how I'd recommend you do them. You could run fully packed, again, probably the better option, but I prefer this. So 172,000 dev strike on the DD, 4 kills, 3,000 base XP. Of course, I can never get the 5th kill in these games, but that's just what happens. As always, guys, hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.